You've been lied to. Not by politicians, not by lovers, not even by the system, but by every spiritual teaching that told you to be gentle with your fear, as if fear is your friend. It's not. Fear is the prison warden dressed in white robes. Let me say this clearly. The law of attraction does not work for the weak. It responds only to the part of you that remembers it is God. And the rest of you, the timid you, the cautious you, it only attracts echoes of delay karma in disguise and trauma repeating itself as lessons. You're not here to repeat. You're here to rupture. Because reality is not something that happens to you. It's something that leaks out of you, moment by moment, from the deepest chambers of your belief. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are brave enough to allow. So, know this audiobook will not soothe you. It will not say you are perfect just as you are, because you are not. You are the result of 1,000 compromises stitched together in a skin suit. But somewhere buried beneath all those personality traits and childhood wounds, something ancient has begun to twitch. That twitch, that's the serpent. The one you were taught to fear. The one religions called dangerous. The one philosophies silenced with intellect. The one that never really slept, only waited. Waited for the exact moment when all the illusions you fed on, success, stability, love as reward, would collapse. That moment is now. You're not reading this because you're curious. You're reading this because you're done. Done with being a well-behaved soul in a toxic simulation. Done with being nice while your power atrophies. Done with calling fate what is really fear in costume. This is not a guidebook. It's not a map. It's a mirror that won't let you look away. It will tell you things you wish you could forget again. It will show you the bloodless face of your spiritual bypassing. It will whisper to the core of you that's never spoken a word aloud, but has always known. You've gone too far to turn back, but not far enough to transform. That's the liminal space, the serpent's breath. It's tight, it's uncomfortable, it's beautiful. You will not survive this work, but you will finally live. Because the serpent doesn't sleep anymore, and neither do you. Chapter 1. You are not the observer. You were never standing outside your life. You thought you were watching it, analyzing it, learning from it. You were told, step back, gain perspective, be objective. And so you tried. You stepped back. So far back that you forgot what it felt like to bleed, to scream, to laugh from the center of your being without evaluating the sound. You made yourself into a watcher, but the watcher was never real. He was just a pair of borrowed eyes on a borrowed throne. You called it maturity. You called it self-awareness. But what it truly was a strategy, a survival mechanism. Because feeling everything, That was dangerous. That was unpredictable. That was messy. And messy made you vulnerable. And vulnerable meant pain. And pain meant you were not in control. So you became the observer, the one who floats above, the one who stays clean. But here's the lie. The moment you separate yourself from what is happening, you become blind to what it's doing to you. You cannot heal what you refuse to become. You cannot change what you secretly believe is not yours. You are not the observer. You are the storm, and every drop of rain in it. Let me say it more clearly. There is no such thing as objective truth in the human realm. Only frequencies, only lenses, only reflections. When you say that person is toxic, what you're really saying is, there's a part of me I refuse to integrate, and it looks a lot like them. When you say I'm just observing, what you mean is, I don't want to feel responsible for what this means about me. But everything is about you. Every person. Every pattern. Every pause in the sentence. All of it stitched together by the serpent inside your spine. The one that translates emotion into architecture. You think buildings and timelines and jobs are outside things. But no, they are shaped by the unconscious choices of your inner gaze. Let me take you to a place now. A dream memory. A story that never happened and always has. You are standing in front of a mirror. But this mirror is different. It doesn't reflect your face. It doesn't reflect your body. It doesn't even reflect the room behind you. It reflects only one thing: your fear of seeing. It shows you the exact amount of truth you are willing to see. No more, no less. You stare into it. At first, it's blank. Then a flicker. A gesture. A whisper of someone familiar. You lean in, and the image vanishes. Why? Because you leaned in with expectation, with demand, with the need to understand. But this mirror does not bend for the mind. It only responds to surrender. It is the mirror of becoming. And you have not yet earned your reflection. Now breathe. Not the kind of breath that fills your lungs, but the kind that undoes time. Breathe and feel the illusion of separation melt. You are not outside this. You are not watching your life. You are the vibration that is the life. You are the pulse before the thought. There is no such thing as later. There is only the point of contact between your frequency and the veil it pushes against. Let's return. You in the mirror. What if I told you everything you've ever accused someone else of was true about you? What if every betrayal you've ever received was first rehearsed in your own heart, long before another played the role? What if the things you find disgusting, weak, foolish in others are the very parts of you you've abandoned in the attic of identity? Would you still want to be neutral? Would you still want to observe? Or would you scream into the glass? demanding to be real again. Because only those who dare to bleed with the image are given back their face. There is no clean awakening, no pure insight. Everything sacred comes at the cost of some old protection, some illusion shattered. The truth is messy. The truth is unkind, because it doesn't care about your comfort. It only cares about your alignment. And to align with what is real, you must abandon what is safe. Let's pause here. I'm not here to guide you. I'm not your mentor. I'm not enlightened. And I don't have a system for you to follow. But I am a voice you've been avoiding. The one that speaks when the room is dark and your mask slips. The one that whispers, "What if none of this is real, except the part of you that feels like a lie?" That voice has always been you. And now you're finally brave enough to hear it. Let's sit in this discomfort a little longer. Don't reach for a quote. Don't run to a book. Don't ask a teacher. Just sit and answer this. Why do you keep choosing the role of the one who watches instead of the one who acts? Because observing is safer. Observing doesn't require courage. It only requires distance. But you were not born to be distant. You were born to enter, to contaminate, to dissolve, to merge, to become. Every spiritual seeker at some point turns into a coward. That's the dirty secret no one tells you. They trade their pain for perspective, their fire for frameworks. They start to study transformation instead of surrendering to it. They become very good at articulating what they're feeling. But they stop feeling. You've been there, haven't you? You've said things like, "I'm noticing a pattern. I'm being triggered. This is a reflection." But none of that is you. Those are the tools of someone afraid to get wet in the ocean of their own becoming. So let me ask again. When did you choose to become the watcher? Was it when they broke your heart and you promised never to feel that much again? Was it when the teacher humiliated you and you decided intelligence is better than intimacy? Was it when your parent told you that crying made you weak, and so you turned tears into theories? You didn't choose to be wise. You chose to be safe. But wisdom isn't safe. It burns. It peels away the layers of the one who knows, until you're just a trembling presence with nothing to say. That's where the real power begins. I want you to imagine this with me. A child stands before a flame. They're afraid. They're told, "Don't touch, it will hurt." So they sit back. They learn about fire from books, from lectures, from others who never touched it either. They become a fire scholar, a master of heat combustion alchemy. But never once do they feel its kiss. Now imagine another child, one who walks up and places their hand in the fire. It blisters. It scars. But something else happens too. Their eyes change. They've seen, not fire. themselves inside the fire. And from that moment on, they can never be lied to again. You've been lied to, not by fire, but by those who told you stay back, be neutral, be detached. They were the ones who never dared to touch it. But you are remembering that you were born scorched. The observer dies here. Let's go deeper. Let's talk about what you call objectivity. Objectivity is praised in this world. Science demands it. Courts pretend to uphold it. Spiritual teachers mimic it. But tell me, when has anyone truly been objective? You only call something objective when it supports the part of you don't want to question. You say, that's just a fact. When really, it's just a belief that's been repeated enough times to grow teeth. Objectivity is the shield of those who fear subjectivity. But subjectivity, your experience, is the only portal to transformation. There is no spiritual truth without personal confrontation. If it doesn't threaten your worldview, if it doesn't offend your identity, if it doesn't feel like death, it's not truth. It's comfort. Let's pause here and do something you've never dared to do. Stop asking what's real. Start asking, what am I avoiding by pretending to watch instead of participate? Let the answer bleed. You see, healing doesn't come from analysis. It comes from breaking character. From standing in front of the mirror and saying, I made all of this, every bit. The heartbreak, the job I hate, the marriage I pretend to love, the health crisis I call genetics. All of it, me. Not to punish yourself, but to reclaim the one thing you've given away. Agency. When you become the observer, you forfeit your role as creator. You say, let's see what life does. Instead of let's see what I am, so I can stop building from fear. Let's go even deeper. You've heard of the inner child. You've healed it, maybe. But have you heard of the inner saboteur? The part of you that keeps replaying pain, not because you deserve it, but because you feel safe in it. It's the part of you that thrives in patterns, that loves watching life pass by from a distance, that hates mess but secretly feeds on chaos. That's the real observer, the addict, the avoider, the archivist of excuses, and it wears the mask of consciousness. Now take a breath. Don't just hear this. Feel what it's doing to your nervous system. The serpent is stirring again, not to destroy you, but to destroy who you're pretending to be. You've clung to neutrality as if it were enlightenment. But neutrality is numbness with a marketing budget. You were never meant to be neutral. You were meant to rupture, to burn, to create waves. And only those who dare to disturb the waters will remember that they are the ocean. Take a deep breath. No deeper than that. Not for calm, not for grounding, but to feel where the lie lives. Breathe and listen for the part of you that flinches when I say, you created all of this. Not you attracted it. Not you deserve it. Not you planned it before birth. No. You, right now, in every moment, with the thoughts you refuse to acknowledge, with the emotions you archive as too much, with the identities you wear like scars you're proud of. You created it because you refused to feel it when it was still small. You waited. You watched. You narrated. And that's how the fire spread. Let me break something inside you now. Because if I don't, life will. Ready. Detachment is not spiritual. It is cowardice baptized in pretty language. Yes, it sounds noble. Yes, it feels peaceful. Yes, it gives you a sense of control. But at what cost? You stop answering the call. You stop crying the tears that belong to you. You stop touching life with your bare hands. And you call that freedom. No. Freedom isn't clean. Freedom is feral. It howls. It bleeds truth on the altar of appearances. And only when you're willing to get dirty, to break your own face in the mirror, does the real begin. Here's a question you must ask yourself today. Am I observing because I'm afraid to be seen? Because the observer is never seen. They hide in the architecture. They pride themselves on their perspective. But perspective is just another name for safe distance. To be seen is to risk misinterpretation. It is to be misread, misunderstood, maybe even hated. But if you're not willing to be seen raw, flawed, alive, then you're not really here. You're a ghost of your own incarnation, a perfect image hovering above a rotting core. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who lived his entire life watching the world from a glass tower. He called it wisdom. He called it not getting involved. He called it inner peace. He watched people suffer and told himself they were learning soul lessons. He watched war erupt and said it was the play of duality. He watched his own relationships wither and whispered, "Everything is impermanent." One day the tower cracked. He rushed to fix it. But when he touched the glass for the first time, he bled. He looked down at the blood, and for a moment, something real came through. It was not a thought, not a teaching, not a conclusion, just pain, untranslated, unjustified, pure. And in that moment, the tower shattered. He fell. He fell for a long time. When he hit the ground, he didn't die. He finally lived. Because he was no longer watching. He was inside. Do you see it now? The observer is a cage. A beautiful one. One with words like wisdom etched in gold across its bars. But still a cage. And the price of staying in it is everything you came here to feel. You can study the fire. You can quote the fire. You can write songs about the fire. But until you are willing to burn, your knowledge is decoration. And the real doesn't care for pretty things. The real wants blood, presence, flesh. It wants you, the part of you that you've been saving for later, the part that can't be translated into language, the part that just is. So now we arrive, not at a conclusion, but a confrontation. What are the 3 things you've told yourself can't be changed? Not what you complain about, not what you perform rebellion against, but the ones you've quietly accepted, the ones that live in your spine like sleepwalkers. Name them, whisper them, write them, and next to each, write what you are still getting by keeping them alive. Power, safety, an excuse, a role, a story you know how to tell. Because the observer isn't just neutral. The observer is a bargain you made with life. I will not interfere, so I cannot be responsible. I will not feel, so I cannot be hurt. I will not enter, so I cannot lose. But you lose anyway. You lose you. So today, right now, the serpent stirs. Not because it's ready, not because the planets aligned, but because you are tired of waiting. You are tired of wisdom that lives in your head. You are tired of watching your life become an exhibit. You are tired of thinking you're evolving when you're only rehearsing. The observer dies here. With grace, yes, but with fire too. So let it burn. Let the mirror reflect your face, not your fear. Let your hands reach into the clay of your becoming and say, I'm not here to watch. I'm here to wield. The room is quiet now. But this is not peace. This is the silence that comes after the veil tears. The stillness of knowing something has died in you, and what remains is finally alive. Not polished, not healed, just present. The observer is no longer in control, and that means you are no longer hiding. Let's return to the mirror. Yes, that one, the mirror that showed nothing but your fear of seeing. You're standing before it again, but something has changed. Not in the mirror, in you. You're no longer asking it to tell you who you are. You're no longer trying to interpret the image. You're not even waiting for clarity. You are simply there, breathing, feeling, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, the surface shifts. It no longer reflects your body. It reflects your choice, your participation, your claiming, not of truth, but of self. This is the beginning of embodiment, not the aesthetic version, not the social media ritual, but the real embodiment, where everything that happens around you is seen as a question whispered by your soul. Are you going to enter, or are you going to watch again? And every time you choose entry, the serpent stirs. It unwinds a little more. It remembers its rhythm, until one day it is not stirring. It is rising, and with it rises a life that is not watched, but wielded. Now this part is for you alone. The ritual of discovery. Not a game, not a trick. A mirror written in ink. Find a pen, or close your eyes, or breathe and speak. But do not skip this. If you skip this, you return to the cage with better vocabulary. You stay smart and asleep. So here it is. Ritual of discovery. The things that cannot be changed. Step 1. Write down 3 things you've quietly told yourself are unchangeable. Not what angers you, what exhausts you, what you've adapted to, what you call just the way it is. These are not facts. They are inner contracts you signed when you were tired, hurt, or scared. Example: I'll never be able to feel safe in love. I'm just not the kind of person who finishes things. My body is always going to betray me. It's too late. Don't dress them up. Write them naked. Step 2. Next to each, write this. What am I still receiving by keeping this alive? Let the answer hurt. Are you still being protected? Still being pitied? Still avoiding risk? Still having an identity to cling to? Don't moralize it. Just name it. Because the moment you name the benefit, you reclaim the power you outsourced to the unchangeable. Step 3. Burn the page. Bury it. Whisper it into a candle. But do not let it live untouched. Your hands must be part of this. Not to kill the belief, but to witness its burial. And when you finish, when the ink is gone, and the air is still, and the serpent inside you begins to rise from its sleep, speak these words. Not to me, not to the sky. To you, the one who is no longer watching. I'm not the observer. I'm not neutral. I'm not separate. I am the fire and the form. I am the blood and the blade. I don't need to understand to transform. I enter. I claim. I create. Let these words shake your ribs. Let them disturb the part of you that still clings to distance, to safety, to performance. Because this chapter does not end with a lesson. It ends with a vow. A vow to never again wait for permission to be real. There are no observers left in this story. Only architects. And you are the trembling hand of God, finally choosing to write from within the storm. The serpent sleeps no more, and neither do you. Welcome back. Chapter 2. The serpent has lifted its head. You survived. And that's not a metaphor. It's not a poem. It's not a motivational line to get you through another gray morning. You survived things no one knows about. Not because you didn't speak them, but because you yourself still don't know how deep they went. What you call trauma, I call memory, carved in the spine. A fossil of impact, of interruption, of the moment when time folded and said, You will not go on as before. They told you to heal, to forgive, to meditate, to write letters you'll never send. And maybe you tried. Maybe you painted your pain with gentle colors. Maybe you told yourself that the ache in your chest was something holy. But beneath all that, something old was stirring, not asking for healing, asking for fire. Let me speak plainly now. Your trauma does not need to be healed. It needs to be harnessed. You don't need to tame the serpent. You need to ride it. Because pain is not a sickness. It's not a flaw in your system. Pain is your system evolving under pressure. And what you called breaking was just the sound of the shell cracking open. Picture this. A snake lies coiled in the dark, deep under the frost of late winter. Its body remembers the sun. Its blood remembers the heat. But the ground above it says, wait. So it waits. But spring doesn't knock gently. It crashes through. And the serpent, still frozen, still hesitant, begins to stir. Not because it is ready, because it is summoned. The world will not wait for your comfort. The fire will not schedule itself for your readiness. And so the serpent rises not with elegance, but with the violent grace of something ancient remembering its name. That serpent lives in you. It's never been gone, just cold, just coiled, just misunderstood. You thought trauma meant you were wounded. I say trauma means you were contacted, marked, called, not cursed. You were opened at a pressure point, and instead of being destroyed, you began the alchemical ignition of survival. Let's talk about survival, because it's not what they told you. Survival is not curling up, not escaping, not dissociating. Survival, true survival, is the decision to remain intact in a world that's trying to fragment you. It's the fire in the center of you that said, "No, I will not vanish." That voice, that was the serpent, saying, "Bend, but do not break. Shake, but do not shatter. Sleep, but do not die." And here's what no one says. You've already survived. You already did the hard part. You endured. You adapted. You carried on when everything inside you wanted to go silent. So now comes the part that's harder. Living. Living when you're no longer in danger. Living when your nervous system has no enemy left. Living when the armor you wore becomes too heavy to carry. This is where most fail, because survival was familiar. But freedom is terrifying. It means letting go of the vigilance, letting go of the story that made you feel strong, letting go of being the one who overcame, and becoming something stranger, more raw, more radiant, a force, not a role, a presence, not a persona, the serpent, not the victim. Let's sit with this. not in silence, but in breath. Stand if you can. Yes, stand right now. Feel your feet on the ground, your spine like a ladder made of stars, your head not reaching upward, but opening downward toward the base of your being. Inhale deeply. Hold it. Let the breath stretch the cage of your ribs. And now, exhale with sound. No politeness. No prettiness. Let the sound be a shedding. Again. Inhale. Hold. Exhale with sound. Let the serpent stir. We've spent too long calling trauma a trap. Too long trying to return to who we were before. But you will never be that person again. Because that person didn't have the fire yet. That person didn't burn enough to glow in the dark. The one you are now. You are made of ash and memory and molten choice. You don't need to heal your past. You need to claim it. Pick it up like a sword. Lift it like a banner. Say, "This made me. I no longer run from it. I ride it." They will call you hard. Let them. They will say you are intense. Say thank you. They will ask why you don't play small anymore. Tell them, because my fire woke up, and I'm no longer waiting for permission to be whole. You were never fragile. You were concentrated. The serpent was never broken. It was gathering itself. And now the head has lifted. Not to attack. To witness. To choose. To enter. You've been told that your pain makes you broken. That your story needs redemption. That the scars on your soul are in the way of your light. But what if your scars are the light? What if the burn marks are not damage, but evidence of contact with the real? What if the pain was not meant to be cured, but carried, wielded, remembered, like a sacred mark? You keep asking, how do I let go of what happened? But that's the wrong question. Ask this instead. How do I become what the pain was trying to turn me into? Let's return to the serpent. It does not rise because it is healed. It rises because it remembers. Remembers movement. Remembers rhythm. Remembers heat after cold. You've forgotten this. That trauma was never the enemy. It was the threshold. And the pain was the price of passage, not a punishment. A portal. But most turn back at the threshold. They cling to their diagnosis like an identity. They polish their wounds like trophies. They build personalities around their injury. They forget that trauma is not a structure. It's a spark. It's not meant to be lived in. It's meant to ignite something older than safety. So now I ask you, what have you made out of your pain? A philosophy? A persona? A justification? Have you used it to shield yourself from love, from risk, from the wild uncertainty of living unarmored? Have you become addicted to your survival story? You wouldn't be the first, you won't be the last. But if you want to rise, if you want to awaken the serpent, you must stop repeating your survival like a script. You must let the story die, so that the power inside it can finally be born. There is no rising without rupture. You must be willing to shake, to sweat, to scream into the old silence, to shiver as the shell of who you thought you were falls apart. The serpent does not ascend through meditation. It ascends through decision. The decision to no longer play small for the sake of being loved. The decision to stop calling fear realism. The decision to stop waiting for pain to be convenient. Pain is never convenient, but it is always sacred if you let it move you. Let me say this another way. You don't need to be okay. You need to burn true. To walk trembling into the light of your own body. To scream, laugh, moan, sob, not to fix, but to empty. You are not a temple for quiet suffering. You are a volcano trying not to erupt in a town built on politeness. Well, burn the town down. Let the fire come. Let the serpent rise through your spine like a memory you stopped telling. Now stand again. Yes, now. This is not performance. This is reclamation. Place your hands at your belly, the womb of movement, the base of the fire. Close your eyes. Feel the coil inside. Tight, silent, ancient. Inhale, slow. Hold. Exhale, loud. Let it shake something loose. Again. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Say it not as affirmation, but as declaration. I survived. Again, louder. I survived. Now I choose to live. Again, louder still. I choose to live. Let that vibrate out of you. Let it echo through every room your younger self used to hide in. Let it reach the part of you that still flinches when joy gets too close. Let it rattle the bones of your fear and crack them into freedom. You are no longer in the past. But your nervous system doesn't know that yet. It still jumps at ghosts. It still tightens when love gets close. It still bristles when someone sees you too clearly. Because for years, your body learned that safety meant silence. Safety meant stillness. Safety meant shrink. But you are not here to shrink anymore. You are here to expand until your skin remembers who it was before the armor. You are here to walk into rooms and shift the molecules by being fully present. You are here to lift your head and let your breath announce. I'm not hiding, not anymore. This is the chapter where the mask cracks. Not the one you wear for others, the one you wear for yourself. The one that says, I've processed that. I'm fine. I've moved on. But the serpent doesn't speak in sentences. It speaks in shivers, in spontaneous tears, in goosebumps you can't explain. It speaks through your willingness to feel again, without translation, without excuse. It's not your therapist who knows when you're ready. It's your body. And when the serpent moves, it's not subtle. It shakes timelines. It cracks open rooms you forgot existed inside you. It demands presence so total that the past can no longer survive inside your cells. Do not confuse this with peace. The serpent does not rise in peace. It rises in heat, in the collapse of control, in the moment you let the ache move through you instead of explaining it away. This is not for the performative spiritualist. This is not for the trauma-informed bypasser. This is not for the influencer of inspiration quotes. This is for the one who remembers screaming into a pillow just to feel real. For the one who ran until their legs gave out and still didn't escape. For the one who smiled through funerals they weren't allowed to grieve. You're the one. Because you know something sacred is stuck in you. And now you're ready to shake it loose. Let's go back one last time. Not to what happened, but to the moment after. The one no one saw. When you sat alone and felt nothing. Not because you were numb, because you were split. A fracture so quiet it didn't bleed. It just echoed. And in that space, something entered. Not light, not darkness. Something older. The serpent. It entered through the wound and said, I will wait here. I will become your breath. I will live inside your silence until you are ready to feel again. It has waited long enough. You're ready. You don't have to go back and analyze what happened. You don't have to understand why. The mind will never know why the serpent chose you. It just did. Now, your only task is to let it move. And when it does, you will not be the same. You will cry without knowing why. You will scream without needing a story. You will dance like the body is remembering music from another life. You will shed, not skin. Self, the version of you that survived. So the one who lives can finally arrive. Let's complete this. This is your ritual of emergence. Not a performance. Not a metaphor. A doorway. Stand again. Yes, once more. Place both feet firmly into the ground. Roll your shoulders back, not to posture, but to reclaim. Let your spine be a pillar, ancient, awake, waiting. Now, breathe in deeply. Hold. Feel the tremble in your belly. The serpent is rising. Not up through. Exhale with everything you've never said. Now say this loud. I survived. Again, louder. I survived. Now I choose to live. Again, make it echo. Now I choose to live. Let it shake your body. Let it wake every cell still frozen in memory. This is not affirmation. This is resurrection. You are no longer the wound. You are the weapon forged in fire. You are no longer the one who made it through. You are the one who commands thunder now. No more hiding in healing. No more branding your pain with hashtags. No more waiting for the right time to be free. The head has lifted. The breath has broken the spell. And you are not a survivor anymore. You are a storm remembering its rhythm. You are a serpent with eyes wide open. You are not here to repeat your past, you are here to end it. And this is the end of waiting. Chapter 3. The truth is a cracked mirror. You say you want truth, but you only want the kind that flatters you, the kind that tells you they hurt you, they betrayed you, they abandoned you. And maybe they did. But if that's all you see, then you've confused clarity with comfort. Because the truth is not clean. It is fractured. And it cuts you in the exact shape of your own refusal. The people you hate, they are not accidents in your life. They are assignments, reflections, messages written in skin and blood, sent by the part of you keep trying to outrun. Let me say it bluntly. The person you despise the most is holding the piece of you refuse to carry. The narcissist, the coward, the liar. They are you. In some chapter, you never let yourself finish reading. You keep asking, how could they do that to me? But the real question is, where inside me did I already do that and bury the evidence? This is not about blame. This is about ownership. Not of their actions, but of your mirror. Because until you own the reflection, you'll keep shattering it and wondering why your soul feels like glass dust in your throat. Let me tell you a story. There's a mirror. Old, silver-backed, hung on the wall of a room no one enters anymore. At first, it showed your face. Then, when you got hurt, it cracked. You thought it was broken, so you covered it, ignored it, told yourself it's not useful anymore. But you kept feeling haunted. You kept catching glimpses, not of your face, but of something else, a presence in the brokenness. One day in exhaustion, you uncovered it, and there it was, not your reflection, but the face of the one who wounded you, the one you couldn't forgive, the one you still wanted to punish, the one you swore was the villain. You screamed. You shattered it further. And behind that, another face. Yours. Not the version that was hurt. The version that hurts others. The version that knows what it's like to manipulate. To abandon, to lie, to choose silence when words were owed. You fall to your knees, because now you see the full portrait, not one face, a mosaic of every version of you, some noble, some cruel, some still waiting to be remembered. The mirror was never broken. It was waiting for you to be honest enough to see it whole. This is the part no one talks about in healing. You are not always the victim. Sometimes you're the storm. Sometimes you're the shadow. Sometimes you're the one who walks away and never apologizes. And the longer you deny that, the longer you wear the halo of the injured, the more fragmented your reflection becomes. Truth is not found in the parts of you that are innocent. Truth is found in the moment you recognize your own hands, in the crime scene of your life. You keep forgiving from a place of moral superiority. You think it's noble, but real forgiveness is not noble. It's humbling. It's when you look into the eyes of the one who hurt you and say, "I see me in you. I see the version of me that I've tried to erase. And because of that, I will no longer feed the illusion that you are the monster and I am the light." Forgiveness is not absolution. It is integration. It is saying, I have also been the blade. I have also chosen fear over truth. I have also left someone behind when they needed me. You want real power? Then forgive from the place where you are no longer better than the one you hated. Let's take a breath. No, breathe deeper. Let the air hit the place where your jaw tightens. When you think of them, you know who. The one you swore you'd never become. The one whose name still tastes like rust in your mouth. Breathe again. Now whisper. Where in me do you still live? Say it again. And this time mean it. Not to invite them back, but to reclaim what they took by becoming the part of you they mirrored. Because that's what healing is. Not escape, but assimilation. Now the mirror appears. Not the old one from the story. The real one. The one that lives in your breath, in your body, in your bruises. Look, not with your eyes, with your honesty. Who is in the glass? Not just you. All the yous you threw away because they made you feel ashamed, ugly, guilty, too much. Let them in. Let them return. Let them become part of your sentence. Because without them, your reflection is incomplete. Your power is fragmented, and your forgiveness is a performance. There is no becoming whole without inviting back what you once exiled. Every judgment is an exile. Every hatred a lock you placed on a door inside yourself. And now you don't know what's behind it. But I'll tell you, it's you. Not the version you show. Not the version that learned. But the raw one, the reckless one, the ravenous one. The one who could hurt. The one who did. You buried them for safety. You buried them to be loved. You buried them so you could say, "That's not me." But that is how you became a liar to yourself. No one wants to hear this part. You cannot fully forgive someone until you admit that you were once capable. of doing exactly what they did. You can't say, "I would never," because you have, in another form, in another tone, in another lifetime, or maybe yesterday in a softer disguise. Until you own that, your forgiveness is superiority dressed in mercy's clothing. Here's the cost of clinging to your innocence. You keep bleeding from the same wound, while telling yourself you're healed. You keep attracting mirrors, while screaming, "Why do they always hurt me?" But the mirror doesn't hurt. It only reflects. It only offers you your own face, in a shape you refuse to recognize. So every time you point the finger outward, you step further from the source, further from your power, further from yourself. Let's pause here. Let's not run. You're not being asked to justify their behavior. You're being asked to meet yourself inside it. To say, "I know the temptation to control. I know the fear that turns into manipulation. I know the ache that makes people cold." And from that knowing, not as a saint, but as a mirror, you speak. You write. You bleed a little. And then you return to the one you couldn't forgive. But this time you don't ask for anything. You give them what you once denied yourself. A voice. Even if they never hear it, you hear it. And that's enough. Now we move into the ritual. But not yet. First, you must feel. Think of them. The one who still tightens your gut. The one who lives in your breath without permission. The one you said "I'm over it" about, but still dream of when the night gets quiet enough. Feel them rise. Not to relive. Not to re-invite, but to reintegrate. This is not about contact. It's about completion. The cycle only ends when you speak to the mirror as the version of you who understands. Ritual of cracked light. The mirror letter. Step 1. Say their name. Not in your mind. Out loud. Own it. Let it vibrate through the part of you that still holds the blade. Step 2. Write them a letter, but not as you today. Write as the version of you who once did what they did. Even if it wasn't the same act, match the emotion, the control, the fear, the desperation, the betrayal. Find it. Step 3. Don't write to justify. Write to say, "This is where I became you. And this is why I forgive us both." Because that's what this has always been about. Not letting them go. Letting you go. The version of you who had to stay righteous, just to feel safe. You don't need that anymore. You're strong enough now to admit you've played both roles. The hurt and the hurter. The mirror and the shatterer. The truth and the one who ran from it. Now breathe. Don't rush. Don't smile. Just breathe into the place where the mirror cracked. The space where the light got in. because that's the only place truth ever lives. Chapter 4. The Silence That Knows Everything. You think silence makes you wise. You think withholding is noble. You think restraint is strength. But I've watched you bite your tongue for so long. It has started to bleed into your bloodstream. And now you call that blood your personality. Let's stop pretending. Not all silence is sacred. Some silence is surrender. Some silence is rot. Some silence is a grave you dig, with words you never had the courage to speak. You say nothing because you don't want to hurt them. You say nothing because it's not the right time. You say nothing because they wouldn't understand. But what you're really saying is, I don't believe my voice can shape reality. And so you don't speak. And so reality keeps shaping you. Without your permission. Without your presence. Without your power. Let me ask you something dangerous. What do you know, but refuse to say, about the life you're living? About the relationship you're keeping alive with your silence? About the job that is eating your soul, one paycheck at a time? About the truth you've swallowed so long, you've forgotten how it tasted. There is a cost to that silence. A cost in flesh. A cost in time. A cost in truth. And eventually, a cost in who you become. Let me tell you a story. There was once a flute carved from sacred wood, passed down through generations. Its song had healed wounds, called storms, calmed children. But over time, the mouth of the flute became clogged. Dust, resin, fear. The wind still blew through it, but no sound came. People called it broken. But the flute wasn't broken. It was blocked. It had been silenced by time, by use, by the accumulation of what was left unsaid. Until one day, someone picked it up and did not try to play it. They just breathed into it, not to create music, but to remember motion. And slowly, the note returned. Not because the flute was fixed, because it had been heard. That flute is you. You have mistaken blockage for brokenness. You have confused numbness for peace. You have called your silence self-control, when really it was your surrender in disguise. You think you've been strong. But tell me, what is strong about denying your voice? What is noble about shrinking your truth until it fits someone else's comfort? You weren't born mute. You were made to forget the sound of your own longing. You weren't born discreet. You were taught that desire was dangerous. You weren't born careful. You became careful when the world punished your honesty. And now, you're so careful. You've become invisible in your own story. Let me offer you a heresy. Silence can be a betrayal. Not of others, of yourself. Every time you knew what you wanted and didn't say it, you taught your body that desire was dangerous. every time you knew what was wrong and didn't speak. You taught your soul that truth was unsafe. And now your throat holds a graveyard of almosts. Of I wish I had said. Of if only I had spoken when it mattered. And you call this wisdom. No. This is starvation. You are starving for the sound of your own becoming. Pause now. Don't run from this. Put your hand on your throat. Feel it. Not for words. For weight. That is where the truth lives. Not in your heart. In your voice. And the longer you hold it in, the more your destiny congeals into a pattern you never agreed to. Because words are not just communication. They are creation. And what you don't say becomes what shapes you. You don't speak, but your silence screams. It says, I don't want to lose them. I don't trust what will happen if I'm honest. I'm afraid my truth is too much. And so you keep choosing peace, but not the real kind. The peace you've built is the kind that comes from holding your breath and calling it stillness. But silence without truth is not peace. It's pressure. And pressure always breaks. This chapter is for the ones who've been quiet so long, they've forgotten they ever had fire. For the ones who learned to edit their souls, just to be understood, just to be tolerated. For the ones whose voices were punished, or worse, ignored. You who has waited for permission to be heard. This is it. Not because I give it to you, but because you remember that silence is not your home. Let me speak to something deep now. The silence you're living in is designing your future, not your prayers, not your mantras, not your vision boards. The things you refuse to say aloud are casting shadows ahead of you and calling themselves fate. Every suppressed longing is a blueprint. Every hidden resentment is a seed. Every unshed word is an echo that builds walls you pretend are destiny. So the question is no longer, what do you want? The real question is, what has your silence already built? And are you willing to tear it down? There is a lie we need to confront, that silence equals strength. It doesn't. Strength is not the absence of voice. Strength is the presence of truth. Even when your voice shakes, even when it costs you approval, even when no one claps for your courage. Strength is saying, this is who I am, even if it unravels the story you wrote about me. Think of the moments you were silent, not out of grace, but out of fear. Think of what that silence cost you. A job you stayed in too long. A relationship you twisted yourself to fit into. A dream you aborted because it didn't sound practical. Each moment you were quiet. When the fire inside said speak, that was a thread removed from the fabric of your becoming. And now you wear a cloak of invisibility. and wonder why no one sees you. You wonder why life feels like a script written by someone else. Because it was. You were too quiet to co-author it. Let me say something that may burn. If you don't speak your truth, you will end up living someone else's lie. If you don't say what you know, you will become a character in a story that punishes your silence by calling it maturity. But silence that hides truth is not maturity. It is slow erosion. It is spiritual amnesia. It is the kind of death that doesn't come with a funeral. So now, we breathe. Together. But this time, not for calm, for revelation. Place one hand on your heart, one hand on your throat. Inhale, deep, into the space between knowing and saying. Exhale with sound. Any sound. Don't shape it. Don't judge it. Just let the silence break. Again. Inhale. Hold. Exhale loud. Feel that. That tremble. That's truth trying to live again. Let me ask you something. No one else dares to. What's the one thing you've never said out loud? Because saying it would change everything. You know exactly what I mean. The sentence that lives in the basement of your chest. The one you write in your head, and then erase. The one that makes your throat feel like it's made of glass. The one that, if spoken, would rearrange your relationships, your identity, your life. That sentence, that is your portal. That is your true name. That is your fire, the one you've kept frozen behind a smile. Do not tell me you are free. If your voice still negotiates with fear before it speaks. Do not tell me you are awake. If you still sleepwalk through every conversation, afraid to say what you really mean. Do not tell me you are healed. If your silence is still performing safety, while your truth scratches at the inside of your ribs. You are not safe. You are suffocating. But here's the secret. The moment you speak, not politely, not poetically, but primal. The moment you let the unsaid come alive, the silence becomes your ally again, because it no longer holds your fear. It holds your freedom. Let's talk now, not in metaphor. Let's talk in revolution. You were born to speak things that haven't been said, to name what others are too afraid to even feel. You were born to turn the unspeakable into invocation, but instead you learned to please, to manage, to manipulate with silence. You became fluent in unspoken rules. You mastered the art of being appropriate. You became a mirror instead of a voice. And now your life fits. But it does not sing. Here's the part no one wants to admit. What you say shapes your reality. What you don't say enslaves it. The job you haven't left because you haven't said the truth about what it's costing you. The relationship you maintain because you've never voiced your actual boundaries. The dreams you've deferred. because you've never said, "I want this, and I'm willing to burn for it." The unsaid builds a future where you are a shadow in your own home. But not today. Today, we break the contract. Today, we let the silence die with dignity and give birth to a voice that doesn't ask for permission. So listen closely now. Ritual of the unspoken fire. 3 hours, 1 sentence, no masks. Step 1. Choose silence. 3 hours. No speaking. No scrolling. No music. No distractions. Just you and everything you've buried. Let the silence stretch. Let it ache. Let it pull at your skin. Let it become unbearable. That's when you'll hear it. The sentence. The truth. The thing you swore you'd never say. Step 2. When the silence breaks, you open. Write. Not an essay. Not a journal entry. Write the one sentence you've never said out loud. The one that makes your hand shake. The one that feels like a betrayal, but is actually your liberation. Step 3. Say it. To the mirror. To the wind. To no one. But say it. Feel it pass through your throat, like the key turning in your own locked mouth. And once it's said, don't explain it. Don't analyze it. Just stand still and let the silence become sacred again. Because now it holds your truth, not your fear. Now it remembers how to listen, because you remembered how to speak. This is where the silence ends. This is where you become audible to the universe again. This is where your voice rewrites your future. Because silence may know everything, but only truth can choose. And now, you choose. Chapter 5. Time is just an excuse. Time doesn't pass. You do. You are the movement. You are the unfolding. You are the needle ticking across the skin of your own becoming. But you keep saying things like, maybe later, once I'm ready, when the timing is right. And you believe it, because everyone around you believes it too. But I'm going to say what they won't. Time is not a river you're drifting through. It is a mirror, and it only moves when you do. You think you're waiting, but actually you're pausing the entire machinery of destiny with your own refusal to step. Every day you don't act is not a delay, it's a vote. A vote for who you used to be. A vote for the cage you've made sacred. A vote for the identity you hate but understand. And the worst part, you call that patience. Let me be blunt. Procrastination is spiritual addiction. Not laziness. Not distraction. It's addiction to comfort, to safety, to the chemical seduction of not yet. Because not yet is a beautiful place. Nothing is required of you there. You can stay innocent. You can keep dreaming without risking disappointment. You can hold your potential like a secret medal no one's allowed to see. But if you never act, you're not preserving your power. You're burying it in a coffin labeled soon. Let me tell you a story. There's a clock. Old. Heavy. Stuck on the wall of a house where time no longer lives. People walk past it every day, never noticing that it doesn't move. Until one day a child looks at it. Really looks. And the moment she does, the second hand jerks backward. She blinks. And it happens again. The more she looks, the more the clock rewinds. Not because the clock is broken, but because truth has entered the room. Her gaze is pure, unfiltered, uncompromising. And truth disrupts time, because truth has no schedule, only alignment. You think the clock is external, but your body is a clock. Your beliefs are the gears. Your vibration is the second hand. When your frequency drops into fear, time slows. Things feel stuck. The world becomes thick. When your frequency rises, time collapses. Have you not noticed? In love, time disappears. In joy, it expands. In terror, it freezes. In truth, it shatters. So stop blaming the hours, the calendar, the decade. You are not in time. Time is in you. And the longer you say, "I'm not ready," the more you teach time to wrap itself around your hesitation, like a snake made of excuses. Let's get surgical. Write down one thing you've said not yet to for more than a year. Maybe it's a book, a breakup, a confrontation, a confession, a flight, a commitment, a desire. Circle it. Now ask yourself, what would collapse inside me if I said yes today? Not tomorrow. Today. The answer will reveal what you're really afraid of. It's not failure. It's becoming someone you don't know how to be yet. You are not afraid of doing the thing. You are afraid of no longer being the person who needs to delay it. Because once you act, you lose the right to be innocent. You lose the privilege of saying someday. You become someone who knows, and knowing is terrifying. Because once you know, you can't unknow. You can't hide in potential. You can't worship your dreams like gods you're too humble to meet. You become a creator. And creators don't wait for time. They bend it. You've been taught to believe that time is a container, that it holds you, that it limits you, that it determines when something can or cannot happen. But here's what no one says. Time is not the master. Time is the consequence. Of what? Of clarity. Of movement. Of energy. Time isn't moving around you. It's responding to you. And the moment you stop pretending you're a victim of the clock, you will feel something impossible. Velocity, not speed, not urgency, but presence with direction. The kind of movement that collapses waiting, that destroys later, that laughs at eventually. Because you're no longer orbiting the thing. You are the thing. And time bends to presence. You've said it before. I don't have time. But what you mean is, I don't yet value this more than the comfort I've chosen instead. There's no shame in that. But there is a cost. Every delay rewrites your geometry. Not just your schedule. Yourself. Every time you defer something you know is true, you sculpt your future into a shape that doesn't fit you. And then you'll look back and say, I guess it wasn't meant to be. But it was. You just kept pretending the clock was in charge. Let's talk about one of the most common lies in the spiritual world. Everything happens in divine timing. Yes, but only when you're aligned with the divine frequency that causes it to happen. Otherwise, you're not waiting on God. You're waiting on yourself. To stop hiding behind spiritual phrases that make your inaction sound holy. Divine timing is not permission to postpone. It's an invitation to become energetically congruent with what you say you want. And sometimes, that means disrupting your entire rhythm. Here's a truth. You're not behind. You're not late. You're not wasting your life. You're just orbiting a timeline that matches who you've been, not who you actually are now. And you're afraid to jump. Because what if the jump fails? What if the new timeline isn't ready for you? What if you leap and nothing catches you? Let me offer this. Time is a reflection of your leap. It responds to your audacity. It adjusts to your belief. It rearranges to match your willingness to move. But only after you move, not before. Let's take a breath here. Not for stillness, but for collapse. Let something fall away now. The weight of soon. The scaffolding of almost. Breathe into that space where you've been waiting for the right time. Breathe like you're already in the version of you who no longer makes excuses in the name of patience. Inhale deep. Hold. Now ask, what am I waiting for that I could give myself today? Exhale loud. Again. This time, whisper it. What am I waiting for that I could give myself today? Listen. Don't think. Just listen. The answer will sound small. Too simple. It always does. Because most timelines shift not through big leaps, but through small acts of precision. A conversation, a boundary, a decision, a phone call, a page written, a door closed. 1 degree of difference and time bends. Not because you planned it, because you showed up for it. You're not running out of time. You're running out of reasons to keep lying to yourself. The truth is, you've always known. what to do, where to go, who to leave, what to say. But knowing isn't the issue. It's giving yourself permission to become the one who acts. Because action is ego death. It burns the fantasy of perfection. It kills the narrative of almost. It tears down the temple of potential and forces you to look at what you're actually building. And most people would rather dream of flying than build wings from their own bones. This chapter is not about time. It's about responsibility. It's about asking, who am I when the clock runs out and there's no more waiting left to hide behind? Because the truth is, you're already late for the life you came here to live. But not too late. Just late enough to feel it, to ache for it, to be hungry enough to finally stop rehearsing and start becoming. No more drafts, no more outlines, no more after I fix myself. Now, raw, unready, alive. Let's make this practical. Let's make it uncomfortable. Choose one thing. One thing you've been delaying. Not because you're lazy, but because part of you knows. If I do this, I can't pretend anymore. Maybe it's telling the truth. Maybe it's walking away. Maybe it's starting the thing you keep saying you feel called to do. Write it down. Not as a plan. Not as a goal. As a non-negotiable. Then, don't do the whole thing. Just do a fragment of it. Today. Within 24 hours. One action. One sentence. One motion that makes it real. Not someday. Now. Ritual of the vanishing excuse. What you've delayed and the door it's blocking. Step 1. Write down one thing you've been telling yourself you are not ready for. Be honest. Don't spiritualize it. Don't frame it with self-compassion. Name the thing. Even if it terrifies you. Even if you're not sure it's right. Step 2. Next to it, write down this sentence. This delay is costing me the version of myself I came here to become. Feel that land. Step 3. Within the next 24 hours, take one small version of that thing and do it. Send the message. Book the meeting. Delete the name. Speak the sentence. Record the first minute. Close the browser. Write the first paragraph. Say yes. Say no. Stand up. Walk out. Walk in. It doesn't have to be the final act. It just has to shift the frequency. Because time will not move until you do. Let's breathe together one last time. Stand. If you can stand now, feel your spine, your pulse, your weight. You are not floating in time. You are not waiting for alignment. You are the alignment. And today, time obeys you. Say it. Say it now out loud. I'm not waiting. I am not behind. time is not holding me back, I am. And I am letting go. Say it again. And this time mean it like the air depends on it. Because maybe it does. Because maybe time is just waiting for the moment you stop using it as an excuse not to be infinite. There is no perfect moment. There is only this one. And in this moment, you decide, are you going to orbit your becoming forever? Or are you going to become it? The clock is not ticking. You are. Chapter 6. You are the dream, waking itself. You are not awake. You're lucid. But that is not the same. Lucidity means you suspect the illusion, but still behave as if it's real. You walk through the world naming objects, playing roles, clutching identities like talismans. But deep down, something itches, something watches, something knows. Not in your thoughts, in your breath, in the spaces between your sentences. It whispers, this isn't it. This was never it. They taught you to call this reality, this screen of movement, this theater of conflict, this drama of achievement. But what they never told you is, reality is what remains when you stop pretending to be the dream. You are not the dreamer. You are not even the dream. You are the moment inside the dream, when it realizes it is dreaming. That flicker of terror, that flash of clarity, that instant where the floor disappears and a question is born. If this isn't real, then who am I? Let me take you there. Close your eyes in your mind, not in your body. Picture yourself in a dream, one where everything seems normal. You're walking, you're speaking, you're in control, until something odd happens. The sky folds in on itself. A familiar face changes mid-sentence. A voice echoes without a source, and something inside you tightens. You realize, I'm dreaming, but then panic. You don't know how to wake up. You try to scream, to move, to speak. But the dream holds you, not like a prison, like a mirror. And the mirror says, you can't wake up until you stop pretending you're asleep. This is where you are now. Not in life. In dream life. You think this is waking. Look closer. The repetition. The reactivity. The roles. The looping thoughts. The predictable reactions. The fear of change. You are walking through a memory, mistaking it for a moment. You are living a pre-written script and calling it free will. You are performing the shape of a person so convincingly that even the mirror forgets its glass. Here's the heresy. Reality isn't real, but your response to it is. The job is a projection, the partner a symbol, the body a vessel. But the way you love, the way you grieve, the way you remember your name in the silence, That's the signal. That's the frequency of the one who is dreaming you. Because your soul isn't watching. It's inside the dream, trying to wake itself. You don't need more answers. You need to rupture the question. The one question beneath them all. What if I'm not the one in control? Because you're not. Not in the way you think. You're not steering. You're being steered by the current of your own frequency. By the script you never stopped reading. By the karma you wear like skin. And now it's time to burn the script. To step out of character. To forget your lines. Not because you found the truth, but because the performance has ended. Take a breath. Not to relax. To interrupt. To shatter the hypnosis. Inhale slow. Feel your breath hit the part of you that has been acting normal. Exhale, like you're pulling the mask off your own face. Again. Inhale. Exhale. Now whisper, "Who is dreaming me?" Don't try to answer. Just feel the question ring through your spine. Let it disturb the roles. Let it untie the name tags. Let it peel away your schedule, your goals, your lineage, your logic. Because this isn't your life. This is your dream of what life was supposed to look like. Let's go further. Deeper than metaphor. Beyond metaphor. Let's walk barefoot across the floor of your illusion. You call it reality. But tell me, when did you last question the floor? When did you last pause before your own name? Wondering. Who taught me to answer to that? When did you last look at your body and feel not gratitude, but astonishment? That you've mistaken this for the whole of you. This body is not yours. It is the costume of this chapter. And this chapter is not the book. It's one scene in an eternal script, being written in real time, by something older than your mind. You are not the author. You are not the page. You are not the plot. You are the pause between chapters, when the reader wonders if they've ever really been awake. That pause is happening now. Let me say something brutal. Reality is the most addictive dream of all, because it is reinforced by clocks, by contracts, by concrete, by consequence. It punishes you for questioning it. It rewards you for pretending. You get love when you play your part. You get safety when you stick to the script. You get applause for being consistent, predictable, visible. But the soul doesn't want applause. The soul wants rupture. Because rupture equals remembrance. The kind that cannot be taught. The kind that cannot be inherited. The kind that only comes when the floor vanishes beneath your feet and you realize you are never standing at all. You have mistaken structure for sanity. But what you really crave is contact. Contact with the thing that watches you watch yourself. The one that breathes when you forget how. The one that screams inside when you smile on the outside. The one that whispers at 3 a.m. This is not who you really are. and you hear it, but you roll over. Because waking up is expensive. It costs you everything that made you acceptable while you were asleep. Let me be clear. This is not about transcending the world. It's about penetrating it. You are not here to escape the dream. You are here to wake up inside it, to become lucid, then sovereign, then dangerous to every system that profits off your forgetfulness. So now I ask you, what are the rules of this dream? What have you obeyed without remembering choosing? What have you repeated that has never once felt like your own? What lie have you built a home inside? Because truth felt too uncertain to live in. Name it. And then, let it go. Not gently, but like someone waking up in a burning house. Let it fall. Let it shatter. Let it scream on its way out. Because the dream is ending, and your soul is walking in. There is no alarm clock loud enough to wake the one who has chosen to sleep. But you didn't choose sleep. You chose survival. You chose coherence. You chose to fit in a world that punishes the lucid. And I forgive you for that. But you cannot stay there now. Because once the soul begins to stir, nothing normal feels safe anymore. You look at your job and feel the absurdity. You look at your reflection and feel the mask. You hear your own voice in conversation and wonder who programmed the script. This is not madness. This is threshold. You are standing at the edge of forgetting and remembering, of logic and lunacy, of identity and essence. The ground beneath you is soft because it was never real. The sky above you is cracking because your dreams have outgrown it. And in this moment, you are faced with the most dangerous choice of all: to remain consistent with who you've been, or to answer the call of who you truly are. One is safe. One is real. Choose. Let's return to the dream. You're still inside it. But now you know. You know the objects are symbols. You know the roles are rehearsed. You know the people are fragments of a deeper mirror. And now, you're ready to wake up, not by opening your eyes, but by opening your origin, the part of you that never forgot, the part that remembers this entire life as one inhalation in the lungs of something eternal. So now, let the performance end. Let the lights go out. Let the scene fade. Let the applause die in the distance. You are not the character. You are not the conflict. You are not the plot. You are the presence watching it all dissolve. And that presence has questions for you. Ritual of lucid becoming. The dreamer meets the dream. Sit. Close your eyes. Not as meditation, as confrontation. Let stillness fill you. Let sound recede. And when it's quiet enough to feel your own breath, ask without moving your lips. Who is dreaming this? Don't answer. Wait. Let the silence respond. Not in words, in sensation. Let the body remember what the mind was built to forget. You are not in this life. This life is inside you. Stay in that silence for 10 minutes. 10 minutes of no becoming. 10 minutes of no fixing. 10 minutes of lucid honesty. And when you return, don't rush to speak. Don't rush to resume. Move like you've just entered the world for the first time. Because in a way you have. And from this moment forward, live not as a character, but as the living dream of your own awakening. This is not metaphor. This is remembrance. You are not just dreaming. You are the dreamer waking itself. And now it begins. Chapter 7. The Sound That Isn't Heard. You've been praying wrong. Not because you use the wrong words. Not because you didn't believe hard enough. But because you thought the universe listens to language. It doesn't. The universe listens to tone, to vibration, to what you truly are beneath what you pretend to say. This chapter isn't about words. It's about waves. Because your thoughts don't sit quietly in your head. They don't whisper only to you. Every thought is a broadcast. And the world is just your feedback loop. You wake up and think, I'm tired. I'm behind. I don't know what I'm doing. I hope today is better. But what the field receives is not your hope. It's your frequency. And your frequency doesn't lie. You can't affirm your way out of vibration. You can't chant your way out of contradiction. Because even if your mouth says, I am worthy, but your inner field pulses with doubt and grief, the transmission goes out as static, like a radio that hasn't tuned itself, like a song trapped in distortion. Let me tell you a story. There was once a radio tower built high above a silent village. Every night, the tower sent music. Lush, trembling, wordless beauty. But the people couldn't hear it. Not because the tower was broken, but because their receivers were tuned to another station. And so the music kept playing, unheard, unanswered, still full of power, still reaching. But silence reigned, until one day a child took apart an old radio and turned the dial slowly, away from the news, away from the fear, away from the endless loop of complaints. And the music came through, not clearly, but undeniably. And for the first time, someone in the village wept, without knowing why. That tower is you. That music is your inner state. And the silence around you isn't emptiness. It's mismatch. You wonder why no one understands you, why nothing seems to respond. But the truth is, you've been broadcasting from confusion, from fear, from identities you no longer believe in. And the signal is jammed. Here's the heresy. Prayer doesn't begin when you kneel. It begins when you think. Every thought is a frequency. Every intention is a transmitter. Your whole life is a radio wave, echoing through the field of form, picking up only what matches. So stop asking, why didn't it happen? And start asking, what frequency have I been living on? Because if you vibrate at guilt, life can't deliver grace. If you pulse with neediness, life echoes back lack. If your field is scrambled, you'll keep receiving noise and calling it fate. Let's breathe now, not for calm, but to tune. Inhale. Feel the tension in your chest. That's distortion. That's dissonance between what you think and what you transmit. Exhale. Let it clear. Again. Inhale slow. Tune to presence. Tune to now. Tune to you before you started pretending. Exhale. Now whisper, I am already broadcasting. Say it again. I am already broadcasting, whether you mean to or not. And that's why everything in your life has matched not what you've asked for, but what you are. You say you want love, but beneath the surface, your thoughts pulse with, I'll be left again. I can't trust anyone. I don't deserve this. And so the transmission is sent. Not your longing, your lack. You say you want abundance, but your frequency says, I'm not safe. I'm not enough. I'll fail again. And so the universe returns. Exactly what you truly believed you could hold. Almost nothing. The field doesn't care about your goals. It responds to your resonance. Not your clarity, your congruence. You've been praying in contradiction, begging for transformation, with a vibration that still fears it. You want the future, but you broadcast from the past. You want the miracle, but your nervous system still pulses danger. And so the music never reaches your receiver. And you call that disappointment. But it's not. It's physics. Let me say this another way. You are a prayer that never stops speaking, even in silence. Especially in silence. Not because of what you say, but because of what you are. And you cannot fake the field. It hears you entirely. The joy, the terror, the pretending, the regret, the doubt you whisper into your bones. It hears all of it and builds your reality from that vibration. This is why change is so hard. Because you keep trying to change your thoughts without changing your state. You keep trying to think your way into a new frequency, instead of tuning your breath into a new truth. But thought is just surface. Vibration is source. And unless the two match, you'll always feel like your life is lagging behind your longing. Because it is. Your longing lives at one frequency. Your field lives at another. And the gap between them, that's called delay. That's what you keep mistaking for waiting. Take a breath. Real. Unfiltered. No spiritual posture. Just presence. Inhale. And ask, what am I broadcasting right now? Not what you should feel. Not what you want to feel. What's actually vibrating through your bones? Is it still trying? Is it still proving? Is it still hiding? Is it still apologizing? Good. Now we're close. Now we're not spiritualizing. Now we're tuning. You don't need new thoughts. You need to change your station. Because even the most beautiful thought, if played through static, sounds like noise. And even the smallest truth, when sent with full coherence, becomes a summons. A call the universe cannot ignore. So here's what I ask of you. Stop begging. Start tuning. Stop declaring. Start transmitting. Stop scripting your prayers. And start becoming the tone of what you seek. And how? By practicing the vibration of presence before anything external gives you a reason to feel it. That's not fake. That's creation. You want peace. Broadcast it. Before your life gives you permission. You want love. Pulse it into every silence that used to scare you. You want expansion. Resonate with it. Before anyone claps. Let's be very clear now. Your mind is not the speaker. Your body is not the amplifier. Your soul is not the listener. You are the frequency. And all three are just the echoes. This is why nothing truly shifts until your signal does. You can change your habits. You can switch careers. You can burn bridges, take leaps, write mantras on your mirror. But until your field changes, you are still vibrating at the same fear that built the last version of your life. You are not being punished. You are being mirrored. Perfectly. Relentlessly. Lovingly. And so I say this gently, but not softly. Stop trying to be heard in a language the universe doesn't understand. It doesn't need your performance. It needs your pulse. It doesn't need your eloquence. It needs your alignment. It doesn't need your spiritual resume. It needs your daily frequency. Because the universe doesn't give you what you deserve. It gives you what you are attuned to. And that is why the same prayer, spoken from a different state, produces a different life. So, how do we begin tuning? Not with words, not with intentions, but with this one sacred action. Presence. Not presence as a concept, but presence as an energetic signal. You walk into a room and change its field, not because of your clothes, your title, your status, but because your vibration is undeniably here. You've stopped leaking into the past. You've stopped projecting into the future. You are now. And that now is louder than any affirmation ever written. So I invite you as the breath moves in and out to consider this. What would happen if the very first thing you broadcast each day was not worry, not to-do lists, not digital noise, but this, I'm here, not as a mantra, as a field. Try it. Not with lips, with frequency. Wake up. Don't touch your phone. Don't touch your thoughts. Don't reach for the old version of you. Just sit, breathe, and pulse. I'm here. Let the signal build. Let the silence carry it. Let the world hear it. Before you say anything, you are already speaking. Let it be the truth. Ritual of frequency, realignment. Mornings without words. Each morning. Before speech, before noise, before names. Sit in silence for just 3 minutes. Inhale into your chest. Exhale through your spine. And think only once. I'm already here. Don't repeat it. Don't chase it. Just pulse it once into your field. Then feel. Don't look for signs. Don't expect fireworks. But watch. Because the day will begin. Not with chaos, not with pressure, but with resonance. And resonance is the doorway to alignment, to coherence, to the quiet miracle of a life that no longer fights you, because it finally matches you. This is the sound that isn't heard, and yet it is the only one that creates. Chapter 8. The door appears where there are no walls. You were never lost. You only believed you were, because you were told that the way was somewhere else, that awakening was down a path, that truth lived in some sacred temple you had to find. And so you became a seeker. And in doing so, you left the only place the truth could ever speak. Here. Here's the first shattering insight. Seeking is the most elegant form of forgetting. Not forgetting facts. Forgetting you. You've been taught to glorify the journey. To believe that not knowing is holy. That searching is noble. But no one told you. You don't become spiritual by walking further. You become spiritual by stopping where you are and remembering what you buried. You say you're looking for your soul. But here's the paradox. The one who seeks is the very one blocking it. The mind that says, I must find more, is the very cloud that hides the light. The you that's running is standing on the key and calling it dirt. You want to find the treasure, but you're the one pacing over it, too busy to look down. Let me tell you a story. A man built a house with 12 doors. he spent years locking and unlocking them, painting them gold, etching them with prayers, studying ancient keys from other lands. Each door he said would take him deeper. Each door he believed was a trial. Each door he treated like a test. He never noticed that the true door, the only door, was not on any wall. It was under his feet, hidden beneath the dust, underneath the floors he walked on for years. The door was not a place. It was a willingness to stop walking. This is the truth I am not supposed to say. Most people who search for enlightenment aren't ready to find it, because finding would mean there's nowhere left to run. No next book, no new identity, no more postponement. And if the truth is here, then the only thing left to confront is you. Raw, unperformed, unhidden. That's why the path is long. Not because the truth is far, but because the ego is persistent. It always needs a next thing, a next step, a next trick. Even its surrender is performative. I'm letting go, it says, while secretly clenching tighter. I'm ready, it says, while scanning for escape. I'll go inward, it says, while still pointing outward at what to fix. Here's what no one wants to admit. You don't need to go anywhere. You need to stop trying to arrive. Truth is not found. It is remembered. And memory is quiet, subtle, unassuming, which is why the ego walks right past it every time. Breathe. Now, read this slowly. If you stopped searching for a door, you might realize there are no walls. There never were. The labyrinth was made of your own steps. The maze drawn by your own footprints. The distance an illusion painted by your restlessness. You believed the wall was real, that you had to break through something, that the universe was hiding the light just out of reach. But nothing was ever blocking you, except your addiction to the search, the sacred irony. The longer you look, the deeper you wander away from where it already is. You don't need more tools. You don't need more books. You don't need more language. You need permission to be still. And the only one who can give that permission is the one who keeps outrunning it. You. The soul is not a destination. It is the ground beneath every step you take. And you've been walking over it, like it's not sacred. You pray for transformation, but you're terrified of silence. You ask for answers, but you drown out the response with more seeking, more effort, more spiritual performance. And the soul waits, not impatiently, not punishingly, just waits until you remember that it never left, that you are not a student in need of a lesson. You are a flame that forgot it was fire. The obsession with finding yourself is how the mind keeps control. It invents a future version of you, wiser, clearer, more awake, and dangles it like bait. But that version never arrives, because it was never real. Only the now is real. Only the breath. Only the unedited presence. Everything else is a holy distraction. There's something you need to hear, and it might feel like betrayal. You already are what you're looking for. The light. The knowing. The peace. The power. It isn't out there. It isn't waiting at the end of the ritual. It isn't sealed inside a mantra. It isn't reserved for the few. It's humming in your marrow. It's pulsing in your spine. It's vibrating behind the thoughts you mistake for you. But you've layered so much effort on top of it that you've forgotten how still it is. And stillness can't compete with the drama of seeking. So the question is no longer, how do I get there? The real question is, why do I keep running from what's already here? Is it the intimacy you fear? Is it the quiet? Is it the death of your role as the seeker? The loss of identity built on struggle? Be honest. Brutally. Because once you see it, once you see that your longing is not for truth, but for distraction from truth, the chase ends. And when the chase ends, the door appears. Not because it just arrived, but because you finally stopped looking away. Let's sit in that. Let your spine be tall. Let your hands be still. Let your breath be soft. And ask, what part of me refuses to stop seeking? Is it the part that still wants to earn it? Prove it. Deserve it. Let that part speak. Let it scream if it needs. Then gently let it know. You don't need to keep running. We're already home. The deepest illusion is not that you are lost. The deepest illusion is that there is a path at all. There is no on the way. There is only now or not now. You don't return to yourself through more learning. You return by surrendering the one who thinks there's something more to learn. You don't earn the light. You remember that you are its source. Even your seeking was wholly yes, but not because it took you somewhere, only because it exhausted you to the point of stillness. And that stillness is the true gate. So now, let's take one breath, not to go forward, but to go inward. Breathe. Gently. You've spent years being the seeker. Now dare to become what you were running toward. Not a better version. Not a future self. But this, the silent, wide breathing here. No walls. No gatekeepers. No ladders. Only you. Unperformed. Unprepared. Unburdened. Let's return to the story. The man with 12 doors. He spent a lifetime mastering keys, breaking locks, studying maps. But when he died, they found something strange beneath his home. A trap door. right under the place he always stood. There was no lock, no riddle, no guard. Just a silence so complete it could only be entered by those who had stopped trying. That trap door, that is here, now. It is yours. And so my final question to you is not, what will you find next? But, what are you still afraid to admit you already know? Because you do know. You always have. You know where the truth lives. You know what presence feels like. You know what real alignment tastes like. You've just been busy protecting the version of you that needs the chase to survive. But you're tired now. Aren't you? Tired enough to put down the books, to stop reciting other people's truths, to stop waiting for some savior dressed in sacred robes, tired enough to listen to the one voice that's been whispering underneath all the noise. You were never lost. You were only distracted. Ritual of returning. Burn the maps. Tonight, not tomorrow. Choose one thing you've been using to delay your own knowing. A book, a belief, a tool, a quote, a spiritual rule that once served, but now holds you back. Burn it, or pack it away for a year. Not because it is bad, but because you don't need it anymore. You are the key now. You are the opening. You are the door. And the door, it only appears when you finally stop asking where it is. This is not the end of your journey. This is the place where the journey becomes you. Walk not forward. Walk inward. And may the stillness greet you as the home you never left,